Hello everyone, welcome back to Insight Sports. I'm Caleb, and today we will be covering one of the most important tools in baseball analytics, the Run Expectancy Matrix. You might have come across this term on social media or maybe during a deep dive of baseball stats, but it's not something you hear during baseball games. And most fans don't really know how it works or why it's such a valuable tool to teams. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what the Run Expectancy Matrix is, how teams use it to make smarter in-game decisions, and how it gives a clearer picture of player value rather than stats like batting average or RBIs. So if you're in the sabermetrics, or just want to understand the logic behind bunts, steals, and pinch hitting, you're in the right place. We need to think in runs, not just hits. Let's start with a fundamental truth. Baseball is a game of run maximization. You don't win with more walks or more hits. You win by scoring more runs than your opponent. But here's the thing. Not all game situations are created equal. When there's two runners on and nobody out, that gives you a greater chance to score than whenever there's zero runners on and two outs. Even though they both go into a box score as a hit, the run value is completely different. This is where the Run Expectancy Matrix, or REM for short, steps in. It uses the average number of runs a team can expect to score from a base out state. A base out state where is the combination of who's on base and how many outs there are. So what exactly is run expectancy? It's the average number of runs a team will score from now until the end of the inning given a specific base out situation. There are 3 out states, 0, 1, and 2, and 8 base runner states, from base nobody on base to bases loaded. That gives us a matrix of 24 unique values. These values come from analyzing thousands of real MLB innings. For each combination, we look at how many runs teams have scored from that spot and take the average. That average becomes the expected number of runs, or run expectancy, for that situation. Now here's where it gets interesting. When a play happens, it changes the base out state and possibly scores runs. So the change in run expectancy plus the runs scored on the play gives us a way to measure the value of a play. And that's the foundation of more advanced metrics like RE24, which we will get into later. You can even sum up all of a player's run expectancy changes across the season and say something like, this player contributed 30 more runs than expected. And that's a much deeper insight than just counting home runs or RBIs. So here's what those 24 situations look like. For example, the highest run expectancy comes from having the bases loaded with no outs, and that's worth about 2.3 runs on average. But if you flip that to 2 outs and nobody on, the run expectancy drops to nearly zero at 0.095. Understanding these differences is critical. It means that not all outs, hits, walks are created equal. A single with 2 outs and the bases empty does not mean nearly as much as a single with runners in scoring position and fewer outs. This matrix gives us a way to visually understand all of that information. Let's apply this to a real situation. Imagine it's late in the game and you're down by 1 run. You have a runner on first with 1 out. From historical baseball data, we know that the run expectancy for this specific situation is 0.49. Now let's say you're thinking about sending the runner to steal second to avoid a potential double play. If he's successful, the situation changes to a runner on second with 1 out, and that means a new run expectancy of 0.64. That's a gain of about 1.5. Let's switch gears to another example, a sacrifice bunt in extra innings. Let's say the game is tied at 4-4 in the bottom of the 10th inning. Under the MLB's ghost runner rule, you start the inning with a runner on second and nobody out. That base out state has a run expectancy of 1.07. You're considering a bunt to move the runner to third. If it works, you have a runner on third with 1 out, but the run expectancy actually drops to 0.87. That's a loss of about 0.2 runs. If the bunt fails, now you still have a runner on second, but 1 out. the run expectancy drops to 0.64. That's a steeper loss. So you're probably wondering why teams decide to bunt at all. But it comes down to what your goal is. In extra innings, you're often playing for just one run, to walk off and win the game. But here's where things get interesting. With a runner on second and nobody out, teams score at least one run 62% of the time. But with the runner on third and one out, that number jumps to 66%. So even though the average number of runs drops, the chances of scoring that one winning run actually increases. You're giving up run expectancy in exchange for a better shot at victory. But that's why the bunt still has a place in modern baseball, but only when context justifies it. All of this shows how run expectancy turns strategy into science. Here, we turn these probabilities into smarter decisions. By assigning an expected number of runs to each base out state, teams can evaluate the impact of each play before it happens. These probabilities guide decisions like when to bunt, steal, or swing away, transforming data into strategic insight. Teams use it for a variety of different ways. Optimize lineups by understanding who performs best in high run expectancy situations. Guide in-game tactics like when to bunt, steal, or pinch hit. Support the coaching decisions by turning situation into known values. Power advanced metrics like RE24 or WPA. And simulate full game outcomes using these base out probabilities. It's not guesswork anymore. Instead, it's probabilistic decision making. Let's bring this to the player level. Metrics like RE24 take the run expectancy matrix and use it to evaluate each player's impact. Instead of counting hits or RBIs, RE24 tells us how much a player increased or decreased his team's expected runs with each plate appearance. In 2024, probably to no one's surprise, Aaron Judge led all of baseball with his 96 runs added through all of his at-bats. That's a massive contribution, far beyond what batting average would ever tell you. Across the league in 2024, 222 of the 652 players had a positive RE24 value. Just 8 of those had a RE value greater than 45. 11 of the players actually hurt their teams by more than 20 runs. The median was Kevin Alcantara with negative 1.86 RE24, meaning even a solid player can slightly underperform the average. This tells us not who's hitting, but who's hitting in a way that moves the needle for scoring runs. So whether you're a coach, an analyst, or a fan trying to get smarter about the game, understanding the run expectancy matrix gives you a whole new perspective. It helps explain why bunting can still matter, when stealing is worth the risk, and how player value goes far beyond hits and home runs. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what topic you'd like me to cover next. Maybe it's RE24 in more depth, or a full breakdown of win probability added. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Insight Sports.